Most of my issues, if not all of my issues, are all in my head. The biggest problem that I have is my negativity and my self-doubt. I sort of walk around with really intense feelings of worthlessness or feelings of, I don't know, just self-hatred, I suppose, and depression. And I walk around with all this stuff. And I feel like my biggest mission, my goal, especially as far as like this YouTube channel and stuff, my goal is to make content that it talks about this stuff, But like I think about some of my original videos I uploaded, over 10 years ago or whatever, and just sort of, I would just kind of show up in these videos and I just sort of talked a lot about my sadness and my feelings of loneliness and my feelings of the things I just expressed to you, all these negative thoughts. And like the one thing that sort of made me stop making so many videos. You guys have probably seen my content slow down over the years, and I just started uploading less and less and less. I think now is sort of a time where like I will probably start getting back into making more and more content. But like one of the reasons why I slowed down is because it's like, well, these mental problems that I have, the sort of negativity, it's like those aren't like real problems. And I like yeah, it is an issue. Mental health is absolutely a real thing, something you should take seriously, which I have, my little bit of mental health issues that I have. They're real. It is real. But like I just think about like how some people are in abusive relationships. Some people are dealing with health issues, cancer, or a loved one, a parent has died or is currently in the process of, a major health issue, and they have to take care of them every day, because like I just think about the fact that like some people have kids that have died in tragic accidents. And I think about the fact that like, there's so many like truly terrible things that people go through. And I look at my life and I realize that if genuinely the only thing that I have to complain about is that I feel sad, even if I feel sad most days, that's really, if you put it into perspective, that's really something to be. I should be looking at it from the perspective of, you know, since I don't have these major issues that other people have, I should be thankful for that, and I should be using the time that I have, you know, not having to deal with more serious problems, meaning other people have to dedicate more of their life, more of their time to handling those serious issues. Since I don't have those issues, I have more free time to do other things. And I feel sort of a sense of like, okay, dude, like Kenny, you should be doing more with this time you have, uh, like putting things into perspective. It's like on the one hand, like I don't want to just sit here and make content talking about how sad I am. But on the other hand, mental health issues are very real. The fact is that so many people really do um struggle with their negativity, their self-doubt, their feelings of shame, guilt, loneliness, all the negative stuff. And a lot of people genuinely need help to get through that. I mentioned this, I did a series here, a 30-day challenge. It began mid-December, ended in mid-January, where I gave you guys sort of an update on sort of all the things I was trying to do to sort of improve my mental health, coming from a point where I felt like I was at rock bottom, which I was at rock bottom. Things got better after the 30-day challenge. Things the past few weeks or so, I've had some very rough moments. I'm not really doing amazing right now, but again, I saying I'm not doing amazing is really not saying a whole lot, and I don't know how relevant or how much of that even matters for me to even share that with you. But yeah, the reality is that yeah, I'm really not great. But again, that's just something that I'm dealing with personally, Um, and I will say, whether it's mental health issues or whether it's a real problem, like a major health issue that you're dealing with, or tragedy that occurs in your life, or setbacks, loss of a job, breakups, anything, whatever you're dealing with, I think that life is going to throw something your way, and you will be shaped by those experiences, and you will have to inevitably become a tougher person, or to put it differently, you have to develop resilience through that hardship. I mean, everybody goes through hardship, and honestly, um, I mean, there's maybe some people that don't go through hardship, or some people that maybe don't have the humility, or humility, is that the right word? Some people you can, it seems like some people you can tell, that they just don't go through anything rough in their life, and they just feel like they're going through life so happy and jolly, and it's like, it's you almost look at them like, what? How did like you can kind of tell they don't have the same level of mental toughness. I would say that I'm extremely mentally tough. Anyway, that's not the point of the video. Let's just move past that point because I don't even know if there's really much to talk about there. But I wanted to get back to saying that, like, um, you know, I mentioned in my 30-day challenge of feeling better that one of the things that I was doing was going to start going to therapy. So I did start going to therapy. It really, I mean, it's technically called counseling, I guess, is what I started going to. But I started seeing this counselor doing some of the talk therapy stuff, and I really like her. We have had about 4 or 5 sessions now. I feel like still pretty early on, but the one thing that I appreciate out of it is that getting some of my, of course, in whenever you do these sorts of things, like one of the things that you always explore is you always explore trauma, and so like I did a lot of talking about going back to like my upbringing and things that I went through, and it's really about, trying to find. We'll talk about this in a different video. Again, this is not really the point of the video. Um, but kind of exploring, some of these negative things that you feel. Go back to where in your life, did that first did you start first feeling that? Because if you can identify the memory, that's really why, in these therapy sessions, they ask you a lot about, your history and stuff, because they're trying to find the trauma, find the events where these things occur. And I do think it'd be interesting to point out to you guys that the person that I'm seeing is trained in utilizing a technique called EMDR, which I looked up stuff on it. I mean, I do have some doubts that it's going to be effective. I do have some doubts about me being a good fit for that version of something, for that version of therapy or whatever. But just in case you guys maybe don't know what EMDR is, I think you guys should maybe take a look into it, see if it's anything that you're interested in, because it does explore this idea of uh, trauma and stuff. I maybe will talk about it in a future video, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of just kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea of like what I'm doing right now, and I'll update you guys more in depth in the future in a different video. If you guys want to see more on that, ask me in the comments and I'll make a video about that and how that's going. I've only had one session of actually doing it so far, so I don't really have much to talk about right now, but I do want to explore that stuff. So, but like I really don't want to come here on camera and just talk about just all the negative things that I feel, and just because this is where I sort of got self-conscious of like the videos that I've been making over the years, especially the ones from like 10 years ago or so. Is I sort of started feeling like this like, oh, it kind of just sounds like I'm complaining in all these videos where I talk about how sad I am, how depressed I feel, and how lonely I feel or whatever. And like there's always this people are like comparing their level of depression with my level of depression. They're like, dude, you don't really seem like you're that depressed. You don't seem that bad. You seem happy. Other people are like, hey, hold on a minute. You have nothing bad going on in your life. I have my mom dying. I have this. I have that. Like, so I sort of got, you guys have seen me upload less videos on the channel, and one of those reasons is because I sort of realized like maybe the way that I'm presenting things about myself and my own negative feelings and stuff is very much, sounds like I'm complaining, so like I kind of shut down a little bit in my expression to you guys. But one thing I want to say is that making these videos, even if I'm just talking about how I feel sad or about how I feel worthless or how I feel loneliness in life or how I feel social anxiety at times, and how I feel like I just don't fit in with people, I genuinely want to explore all of these individual sort of negative thoughts and all these negative feelings, and because they overwhelm me at times. And while these might not be the biggest issues out there, there are millions of people, everybody, I mean, I would say everybody experiences some level of anxiety or sadness or depression or whatever. I mean, even if it's not clinical depression, there's still people that can feel depressed through moments of their life and whatnot. So it's just I feel very sort of nervous to even talk about things because people are always playing the comparison game of like, oh, you don't have it as bad, or this person or that person or me, or and so I don't really enjoy that aspect of making content. And people in the comments have done that in the past, so that's why I bring it up. So but right now in this moment, guys, I am seriously considering kind of doing something similar to what I used to in the past, which is I just feel like sometimes making these videos is just my way of like getting through my stuff, like if I'm having a rough time. I mean, thankfully I have a counselor right now that I can go to every month. Hopefully it's expensive, so hopefully I can start going every 2 weeks. I want to have more frequent sessions. But right now it's a little bit of in a rough spot financially to be able to do that. But point is that like if I am regularly seeing somebody, that is actually a good thing, because I can get a lot of my stuff out there in those sessions. I will say, um, I don't know. It is a tough thing though, to even just talk about your negative feelings and stuff, your negative thoughts. Like it is difficult because the more you think about it, the more time it's like the more time you have to just sit by yourself in your thoughts, the more likely you are to, what's the word, ruminate. I don't know if ruminate's the right word. What does ruminate even mean? I got to look up the definition of ruminate. The more time you have to just sit and think and reflect, um and to yeah, I think ruminate works in that context. That was a good usage of the word. I think the more time you have to just kind of sit there alone in your thoughts, I feel like you're not always going to just simply arrive at the best conclusions on your own, which is why it's good to have another person to talk to get your thought, why it's good to communicate and express yourself, because that feedback you get from others can kind of help combat the negative stuff. I just did something. I don't even know if I want to share this with you guys, honestly. I was having a really rough day a few days ago. Um, I sent a kind of depressing text message to my siblings, uh, because I was having a rough time, and I just sent them something that I was feeling, and it was really, really depressing. This is the kind of stuff that, like, I don't want to burden people with my depressing thoughts, but like I just sent it to them, and they reached out to me, and they like, this is this bad thing where it's like, okay, being a person who is very negative, very depressed, I really don't want to burden other people with it. Like that's like I really, really don't. But like sometimes like other people can give you comfort, other people can reassure you that like I don't know, like hey, like you are okay, and you don't have to feel that way, or. Now, I will say in the past, when I've made videos expressing myself, I have received some comments that it did seem like people watching the YouTube video of me, whatever, being depressed, they left comments that it seemed like they were trying to help me. I do believe that everybody has good intentions, but most of the times when I read people's comments that are trying to help me, I always interpret them the completely wrong way. So like even if you guys want to try to leave a positive message, and even if you want to try to lift me up or make me feel better, or if I say something that's like, oh, I feel worthless, if you try to like correct me on that and be like, hey, here's why you're not worthless and things like that. I will say in the past, a lot of times whatever you write, I don't even read it correctly. I don't interpret it in the best light. I will sometimes just read a comment and it will actually just make me angry. Like I will read a comment for someone and be like, "You don't understand." Like, like no, I can't be helped. Like, no, I like no, and that's the thing is like trying to convince somebody and tell somebody who's depressed, like, hey, You don't need to feel that way. Like, there's gonna be resistance. Like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is just how I am. I'm stuck. I will forever be depressed. You can't help me. I'm hopeless. That's that hopelessness. Again, another topic I really want to explore here on my channel is hopelessness. Because, like, I mean, I feel there's just so much weight and pressure to those feelings. Um, but here's kind of where I'm going. So I sort of made it a goal early on in the year that, like, I want to do a better job at making content on my channel, which this video is a part of that. So was my last video, and so on. So one thing that I might be doing is I might be doing a little bit more of this, sad talk, we'll call it. I don't know. Maybe I should put a label on the video that's like, hey, this is me being depressed. This is me, being honest about how I feel. Please, refrain from judgment. This is you don't need to try to help me. This is just a work, like, because I need a space to be able to, through videos. I need a space, I think, to be able to be, like, just honest and vulnerable, and, like, to just say, this is what I think, this is the negative stuff, and I want to do it in a way that's very careful. Like, I don't want to spread negativity. Like, that's the last thing that I want to do, but I'm also not looking for help. And it's a very weird thing, because, like, for a lot of people, like, just expressing yourself can be very, very helpful. But I don't want to use my channel as a replacement for actual good, um you know healthy ways of improving your mental health. Um, but I also think that by listening to somebody talk about something that they're going through and you relating to it, I also think that that can be beneficial. Like, so people who might watch my videos and might be like, hey, I appreciate you being honest and vulnerable. Like, sometimes by listening to somebody put into words the exact thing that you're feeling, sometimes that can just, that, even though that can almost be a similar level of relief, or just sort of as almost expressing it yourself. So that's sort of one of the reasons why I want to make content like that. That's the thing, is, like, I really don't want to be depressing, guys. Like, I don't want to be depressing. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. But at the end of the day, I think that I think that this is what I should be focusing on, because I have another channel. If you guys don't know, like, my other channel is what I've been doing the past few years, like, every single day on that channel. I've been making my Wordle videos, connections videos. I've been playing all those like word games and stuff, and I've been doing other gaming stuff over there as well. Like, recently, I played Slay the Spire 2 that just came out. I've been doing that. I have some other games that are planned as well for that channel. But my other channel is kind of dying. It's, I can't really keep viewers. Maybe I'm just not the most entertaining guy. But one thing that I can do, if it's not being entertaining, is I can be pretty deep. And hopefully I try to be as insightful as I can be. Hopefully there is some value to my insight and to my, whatever I'm doing here, I guess. My, whatever, I'm going to try to wrap this up here, this video, but, like, I think that what I should be focusing on is this channel, and kind of let the gaming channel kind of just be an extra thing. I mean, unless some other new games come out and they, that content takes off, I think that this is where I want to focus on. With that being said, guys, I want to wrap up with two things for you guys to look forward to on this channel. One thing is definitely happening, and the other thing is a possibility. The thing that is definitely happening, and I mentioned this when I did my 30-day challenge back in late December, early January, is that I said that I wanted to do that challenge, that 30-day challenge, again in mental health month. So May is mental health month. So I would actually like to do that 30-day challenge again with you or anybody watching who wants to participate alongside me, right? So, when I first started doing my 30-day challenge, it just sort of happened out of nowhere, and nobody knew what to expect. But I figured this way, if you guys know it's coming, all of you guys that maybe want to help, that want to work on your own mental health, that want to participate in this alongside me, you guys can do this with me. So it will be starting on May 1st and going through May 31st, every single day in the month of May. Um, we will be doing a mental health 30-day challenge. So you and I, or anybody who participates, will be trying to keep ourselves mentally healthy through that month. So do whatever you got to do, whether it's, meditation, exercise, eating healthy, getting good sleep, doing activities that you find enjoyable, maybe doing some positive affirmation stuff. I don't know. Just kind of keeping your life together and kind of staying in sort of a good mental space. If maybe you want to try going to therapy for the first time, maybe you should do that. I don't know. It's your month to do whatever you want to feel good. But I would really love if you guys did it alongside me, with me, so I wasn't just doing it by myself and just sharing things with you. Like a lot of times, the purpose of me doing whatever I'm going to do on this channel is to sort of lead by example. One of the things that I want to do is, like I'm 31 years old now. And I think when I started up this channel, I had no understanding of myself. I had no life experience. And now I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. I kind of know who I am now, and that's great because I know I'm not great at a lot of stuff. But one thing that I want is that this channel is not really for me. This challenge. I mean, this channel, and I guess the 30-day challenge. But they are for the viewer. They're for other people watching. I hope to influence you. I hope to make a positive impact on your life. That is ultimately what I want. That is where the motivation is coming from to make content now. Personally, I want to get better at making content. I've never been very good at making videos, and doing a lot of stuff. So I want to push myself to find ways to make content that's more engaging, more interesting, and that sort of thing, and you know, still be sort of what they are. So I take inspiration from a lot of different people. Anyway, final thing I want to say is I did just like yesterday, I came up with this idea that I could do for a daily video um thing, which would be for YouTube Shorts, so short form content. Um, I thought about doing this daily video, which I wouldn't actually do it every day. I would probably pre-record these videos, but it's a sort of and this might get kind of old after a while. You might not get into it that much, which is totally fine, but hopefully there is an audience for it. Which is every day to kind of I don't want to give away it exactly, but every day to kind of just say like, "Hey, today I'm going to remind myself that like, you know, do sort of a positive affirmation thing. Today I'm going to remind myself that, you know, it's okay to whatever. I don't know. Gosh, see now I don't have a great example of it. Here, let me pull up. I think I wrote down in my notes. I think I wrote down in my notes here, if I can find it. Something like this. Okay. Um just positive affirmations saying, "Today I'll choose to be my own strongest advocate." That sounds very corny and cheesy. But like, okay, uh here's a better one. Today I'll take a moment to acknowledge how far I've come. You know, that sounds like a cheesy one. I will admit that those ones were from AI. I will try my best to come up with my own examples of things, but I want to do sort of this 30-day challenge. 30-day, not even a 30-day challenge, a 365-day challenge, a series, you could say, a series that never ends on my channel. That is a YouTube short series where I begin them by saying, "Today." It could be like I will try to remember this, or today I will um focus on taking a small step towards but like not just say, I don't want to just say one cheesy thing and have that be the whole video, because nobody's gonna watch that. But like I don't see, I haven't fully developed the idea, guys. Give me some time to put it together. There are certain things like positive affirmations. There are certain things like just basic, not even basic, even basic or complex philosophical ideas, mindsets, beliefs. Um, there are so many different things to talk about, so many different things to focus on. And I think that if I made a YouTube short every single day that basically just highlights one thought, belief, positive affirmation, hey, maybe it's just like a reminder, like today I'm gonna drink water or today I'm gonna go for a walk. Like it doesn't actually have to be an actual affirmation or like a positive thought, but to do it's like a daily thing every single day, focus on one thing, have one sort of reminder, kind of like how people, Christians will have like today's Bible verse kind of thing, kind of like that, but like more for the completely depressed person who feels absolutely lost and hopeless in life. And my goal is to just, again, to just provide a little bit of positivity in the world, to provide a little bit of hope for people that feel so down and just don't know where to start when it comes to where do I begin in this journey of like getting myself out of the hole I feel like I'm in. I feel like I'm so depressed and I feel like I'm buried underneath, you know, all a pile of dirt, like I feel like I'm underground suffocating, or I'm underwater drowning. People have this feeling which is like, how am I supposed to help myself? How do I get better? How do I improve? How where do I go? And so for me it's just like, well, let's start with these little nuggets. Let's start with these very basic sort of challenges to your belief system of how you feel, which might be in the form of a cheesy positive affirmation kind of thing. Listen, guys, I don't care if I'm cheesy. I really don't. Okay. But if I make a YouTube short every single day focusing on one of these things, I think that would be a really cool idea. I know I said at the beginning of this, I don't really feel comfortable sharing with you guys exactly what the idea. I ended up just spilling it out. I told you guys exactly what the idea is, you know. And the idea is if I do it every day, it's like I will build up my own philosophy. I will build up my own sort of, I will challenge my own negative feelings with that, my own negative thoughts. And by challenging my own negative thoughts with that every day, and by having something to focus on for the day, you know, I think that will possibly boost my overall well-being, mental health, and whatever. And by making it a video, something for you to look forward to, number one, it can inspire you to do it yourself. But number two, maybe you don't have to do it yourself. You don't have to come up with your own daily quote of the day thing or whatever, right? You can just let me be the one to remind you of something, or let me be the one to put that I almost said negative thought. I don't want to put a negative thought in your head. I want to do the opposite. I want to put a positive belief in you. That's what I want to do. And so um so if I can do this every day, if I can make these, you know what? By the time you're watching this video, I'll already start it up. There you go. This will be, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna hold on to uploading this video for maybe a few days, and I'm gonna go ahead and record. I'm gonna get my phone out, and I'm gonna record myself, you know, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna make these videos. They're gonna be daily videos, and it's gonna be designed to just uplift people, to give people hope, to give people a sense of direction for the day, to build upon a philosophy, to build upon a mindset that is going to be either productive or to challenge your negative beliefs, to love yourself, all of these things, Guys, I talked about this in like my Who is Feel Good Kenny video I uploaded a month ago or so. I want excuse me. I want to be the guy to help people feel good, and Fact is that I don't. I genuinely don't feel good. You know, my name, Feel Good Kenny. It's not because I feel good. Feel Good Kenny is like, I want to feel good. If I could be that version of me, I imagine there's this me, there's this Kenny who's sad, depressed, lonely, hopeless. And then there's Feel Good Kenny, the best version of me that's like the ultimate, like he like listened to all the self-help people and he's actually like at his full potential, good healthy mindset, good philosophy. And like I keep asking myself, how do I become that person? You know? And so hopefully by making these videos, we get there. I get there and I help you get there. Anyway, something to think about, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Sorry it was so long. Basically a podcast at this point. It's like a mini podcast. 30 minutes long though. That's pretty good. Take care of yourselves. See you guys later.